Welcome to the Ultrahuman experience. This session is free for you for the complete experience. Please download the Ultrahuman app.
Hello there. Welcome to Bedtime Stories. I'm Ollie, your everyday preteen oriental small-clawed sea otter. If you've come to me for advice, I'll assume that your goal is to soak in ancient otter wisdom that has been passed down for generations upon generations. You've come to the right place. It's rather funny because I was thinking about otter culture just yesterday. I can't quite remember when those thoughts started coming. Perhaps it was just after my afternoon nap. Let me try to recreate the exact moment. The afternoon sun shone brightly. The spot I had fallen asleep in was covered in the shade of the thick shrubs that lined the shore. Rocks peeked through the undergrowth, their colossal forms hidden amongst roots which sprung from underneath. Salty water sloshed against the rocks in a lulling rhythm. I could hear birds competing with the chirps of daytime crickets. There was a sudden loud chirp in the lively sounds of the wilderness, a myna in the bushes. It chirped loudly for a few moments before busying itself, but it was enough to rouse me. A yawn escaped as I finally won the battle with my eyelids and spun over in the cool water to really jolt myself awake. This was a personal trick of mine that always worked. I looked around at my sleeping family, just a group of sleeping otters, all cuddled together in the sea, floating by the rocks. What a sight we must make. From a distance, you wouldn't realize we were otters at all. Just a family of rocks, you would think. Whenever I saw my family like this, I liked to take a moment and appreciate them. Family relations are strong amongst otters, especially between the mothers and their children. My own mom wouldn't let me be alone even for a moment. When I was really very small and couldn't swim by myself, she would let me sit on her and act as my personal raft. I never realized what she was doing, as I thought we were just playing a fun game. But now I'm quite grown, not fully, however, so I enjoy having my personal space and time too. Anyway, most activities in the life of an otter are community activities. We hunt together, clean together, sleep together. Well, speaking of sleeping, at that moment, my family was comfortably huddled up, so they would be asleep for a while longer. But since I was already awake, it was time to seize the day. I stretched. The soil smelled fresh and warm, and there wasn't a cloud to be seen. What a lovely afternoon. I couldn't wait to see what became of it. As a sea otter, My natural habitat is the water, although I'm quite comfortable on land too. The water is where all the good things are: food, comfort, mystery, adventure, cool rocks. But since I had been asleep for such a long time, it was hard to ignore my growling stomach. Otters are carnivores, and we eat all kinds of smaller animals. One could find any number of such animals in the sea, especially if seafood is something you enjoy. In fact, otters are such fans of seafood that we have what is called a special rock, and each otter finds his own special rock while growing up. That rock is used to crack open hard shells that we find on our prey, for example, on shellfish, so that we can get into the delicious, soft flesh underneath. This is really fabulous for two reasons. One, it makes otters one of the few noteworthy species who uses tools. And second, we have a special pouch in the skin of our forearms just for our special rock. I think this goes to show how gluttonous we are. Coming back to my main point, food is the first thing you need for survival. And if there's one thing that otters are good at, it's looking after themselves. Of course, all animals take care of themselves, but us otters are a little different. Firstly, like I mentioned earlier, we have quite a vast selection of culinary options, and we're not too choosy about our food, so there's always an abundance of things to eat. But all problems aren't solved with food. Taking care of oneself is a challenging process if you're not equipped with the right tools. The most valuable tool is love. And the second most valuable tool is patience. Otters have loads of that. Patience. 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 It is the key to everything. Patience was exactly what I needed, looking for something to eat. So I lay low among the grassy bank, patiently. Then I waited and waited. It might not have looked like I was doing anything, but my eyes were keenly scanning the water. I was still until I saw what looked like a ball with giant spines, which I knew from experience to be a rather savory urchin. I bided my time, and once the urchin was close enough, I pounced. I spun it round and round in my paws and pulled the spikes off, and when I was done, my meal was already in my stomach. It didn't take me long to finish my meal off, and I was rather full and drowsy by the end of it. The cool, gentle water of the sea was so welcoming. I couldn't resist losing myself into the water slowly. Floating is second nature to otters. I can float while asleep, and I was close to nodding off. But then I got a better idea, which was to groom myself. I know you must be thinking, what? Grooming? Now, if I have to explain the importance of grooming to you, I'll have to go back to the basics of survival that I was talking about earlier. I have mentioned that the key to survival is love, but let's go into the details of that. Love is such a difficult concept. It all begins with yourself. You won't get far in the wild if you don't treat yourself with loving care and respect. One needs to have a healthy amount of self-love. And of course, self-love starts with grooming. You might be surprised to know that otters groom themselves almost the whole day. In fact, unlike most animals, even other otters, sea otters don't have ticks or lice or little insects crawling in our fur. Yes, we keep clean, but more importantly, we develop the habit and discipline to perform the task of cleaning over and over again. And this task is symbolic of loving each limb, each strand of fur, each cell in our bodies, leading to the healthy self-love I was talking about earlier. And that's not the only reason why otters groom themselves so much. Cleaning our fur with our teeth and claws helps us stay warm and waterproof. Valuing yourself is how you survive. And nobody knows more about that than sea otters. Now I know what you might be thinking. Hey, Ollie, it's great otters are pampering themselves the whole day, but I can't do that. And my response to that would be, why not? I'll tell you why. Sometimes you feel guilty, or you think you're too busy. Sometimes you just feel like you don't deserve to give yourself attention. These, my friend, are wormy thoughts that you really needn't keep in your mind at all. It's a free world. If you want to groom, then groom. And personally, I'd advise grooming even if you don't feel like it. When it comes to self-care, I always begin and end with my nails, because my nails do a lot of the cleaning. It's a meditative process. to clear out the knots from my fur and food scraps from underneath my nails. Then squeeze the fur a little so the water leaves and air can get trapped within to help me stay afloat. Then I tend to roll around in the water as a final cleanser to get any little spots I may have missed. It's an added measure because I'm actually very good at grooming myself and I don't miss things. But it's always better to be safe than sorry. I do think that the extra measure just goes to show how seriously us otters take our self-care. Apart from actually keeping clean, grooming yourself has a whole bunch of added benefits. For example, it's me time. Time to take into account yourself, your day, your goals, what you're happy about, and what to look forward to. The process is both physically and mentally relaxing because you've just massaged your whole physical and mental being. That's why otters are so content with their lives. We're pretty much giving ourselves a wholesome spa throughout the day. Speaking of spa, my ritual of cleaning was nearly complete. I dedicate a minimum of 4 hours daily to my self-care rituals. So, of course, the task had taken some time, but was absolutely worth it. By the end of it, I felt like a whole new otter. Just more inclined to drift back into the dream world with my full stomach. Good night and sweet dreams.